Broadcasting from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, with JB, Real Estate Rome, and True Mac. This is For the Culture.
For the Culture, it's your boy True Mac. I got Real Estate Rome. What's
going on?
JB with me.
You know it.
We down here at Level 9 Studios. My man Scott Vera putting it together for us as usual. Half mile from the Las Vegas Strip. How y'all doing today, fellas?
We great, man. You know, Happy New Year to you, brothers. It's good to see you. You know, live, strong.
Yes, sir.
How was the holiday season?
Oh man, it was good. Good time with family.
Yeah.
Relaxing. Ain't do too much.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's about the same. Just chilled out. Got everybody what they wanted. None of what I wanted. And
Welcome to
always works that way.
fatherhood.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you know. And we just kicked it. I was sick New Year's Eve, man. Went to the New Year's Eve party. I was like the Debbie Downer. It just hit me. And I was just in a corner with hoodie on. Like,
Chilling.
Yeah.
sick as a dog. Like the opposite of the death of the party.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
In the fetal position,
but
like,
I'm
ugh.
here. You feel me?
Yeah.
Couple things going on I wanted to talk about today. Number one, being Agent Orange, number 45 in office. Got us on our 30th day of the government shutdown.
Longest in history.
Longest in history. 9 days past the longest at 1995, 96. And I just, me in the area that I've been working in lately, I got a couple people that's affected by the shutdown, being TSA employees and
Wow.
still having to go to work without pay right now. They're being told they're furloughed, but still got to come in. So I just wanted to get y'all opinion on what y'all thought about that.
I'll let you go.
You know, it's something when the President of the United States and the Congress that supports him can do so much harm to our fellow citizens based on something that he doesn't want from aliens. Doesn't want them to be able to come into our country illegally. And the fact that he can hold our people basically hostage in order to get what he wants is kind of sickening. I mean, that's not the American way. And this is a democracy, not a dictatorship. So I hope and pray that they can come to some sort of resolution and get these people back to work because they have bills to pay, they got families to take care of, because that's what's most important.
Absolutely.
Right.
And we can sort all of this out. I mean, we've existed for 400 or 500 years with our borders open. I don't know that what a wall is going to stop in the meantime. So let's get these people back to work so that they can contribute to our economy.
Right.
You know, and continue to move forward and show the world that we can overcome some of our differences, the things that we don't agree on, and still make sure that we're taking care of our own.
100%.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're as a masses are starting to feel the effects of the shutdown. Of course, as we know, the longer it gets, the more it starts to affect people and it starts to spread. I mean, from the initial like TSAs. You know, all the other government employees, like my mom, she works for Housing Authority.
Wow.
Like all of that stuff, and they still working. And you know what I mean? Like it will affect all the people that we don't really necessarily think about on a daily basis outside of just the TSA employees. I mean, you know, although they tried to say that it wasn't part of the shutdown, the guy in Atlanta, I think it was, who got through with a gun through the TSA, he got through the security gates, got all the way on the plane. With a 45 or a 9 or something like that. He got in with a hand pistol.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, of course, their reports were, oh, no, this isn't because of the government, you know, the shutdown or anything like that. Of course, they're going to downplay it in such a way that it isn't part of that. Somebody just surprisingly just didn't check the bag or check him properly or something like that. But, you know, I think that, you know, even I went to Austin just a couple of days ago and, you know, just seeing these people, man, they are... Man, I mean, not that TSA pre-check people were ever like the most smiling folks, but
they have no reason to smile.
Right? Yeah, they are definitely, you know, it's doom and gloom with them knowing that they have to work every day.
Yeah,
and nothing to show for it. I mean, we're 30 days in. I mean, a month worth of no pay.
That's crazy.
That hurts people.
That'll cripple a lot of people.
And I think that it's noteworthy to say, like JB pointed out, it being for like no appropriations for this border wall, and it's been it's well noted any and everywhere that the amount of land that this border wall is going to cover,
Yes.
that is not even a fourth of what our open border is.
Yes.
To neighboring to neighboring countries and to the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean.
Right.
So, and it's also been reported that during the El Chapo trial, there's been snitches that's testifying in a trial for against Chapo, that's just telling them that, you know, most of the drugs, that's not even how they get in. They don't come in through the border security. We're flying it in. We got it on freight trains on 18
How about
wheelers.
How about that Canadian border?
That's what I'm saying. Like the Canadian border is twice the length, maybe even 3 times the length of where they're trying to get this wall. So I think it's more of a
ploy.
Not a ploy. It's more narcissistic of him.
Yeah,
I think because he just wants something to tie his name to.
Yeah.
And it'll be the Trump wall.
I'm sure it will be.
You know, you feel me? This is why his first initiative was trying to get rid of Obamacare, and they were trying to push Trump care.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants something to attach his name to say Donald Trump was here. And I think it's disgusting because it's affecting so many lives.
Well, I play devil's advocate a little bit. I don't think it's a terrible thing. However, he's a terrible person. You get what you follow me? Like, I think as a president, you want to be able to attach your name to something, but it also has to benefit the people. Unfortunately, what he's trying to do is undo something that Obamacare is by far not perfect.
Right.
But work on the kinks. Work on what is not making it effective and push that agenda forward, regardless of Republican, Democrat. If it's for the people, it should be the best thing that we can provide, especially for our less fortunate citizens. But one thing,
go ahead.
One thing I wanted to say in regard to all of this is how important it is, and it's something that I'm working on. I made it a goal late last year to make sure that I have 3 to 6 months of money set aside so that I can survive in the event that I lose my job, because I fell into that trap a year and a half ago, and I understand what these people are going through.
Right.
So it's so important that we start to teach and practice financial freedom, financial literacy, getting rid of the unnecessary credit cards and the things that you don't need. Leaning yourself out, leaning your budget out, creating a budget so that you can live by that month to month.
That's like step one, create a budget.
That's step one. That is step one. But knowing that, but really enacting that, because we're, like you said, we're 9 days beyond the longest. So we're only at the 19th day of January so far.
Right.
And people are really hurting. So it's kind of like, we have to take heed to this and know that the next time something like this happens, that we're completely prepared for it.
Yep,
Absolutely.
I agree.
And I mean, and to play devil's advocate to that too, and I think, well, not even to play devil's advocate, I think some people, their mentality is that of just what they've known is that paycheck to paycheck, right? And of course, for the majority, we're underpaid and overworked. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's difficult in that situation to get out or to build that hole. But I agree, when you start to understand what assets and liabilities really are, you'll start to think of things are completely different. Like I know people that use literally a credit card like it's income.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
I used to be one of them.
So same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I ran up a card and couldn't even pay the minimum payment.
Right.
Like that was just nothing but interest. You know what I mean? Like it was ridiculous.
We've been there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the unfortunate part is, while that education and that information is out there, we don't take the time to go and seek it.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, and that's why we have those ads and we have these people that are baiting and switching the masses of, credit repair, and that's the fix. It's not, I'm gonna wipe it away for you so you can go do it again.
It's a Band-Aid.
Right, exactly. It's like, no, it's a mentality that we need to now flip off. Yes. And like just to go back into that of like mentality wise, like the idea of fixing the Obamacare and just working out the kinks and stuff like that, it's all an ego play.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm a Republican. I don't even want to try to fix what he started because it's an ego. That's my mentality. I want my name on it. I want something new.
Yeah.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying, it's disgusting. Period. Just the fact that that it's just done in such with an evil mindset. It's negativity surrounding it. I agree 100% that every president should want something tied to their legacy. So, but like, why not something positive?
Yeah.
Right. To tell in a positive light. So when you go back and look back at history, because history is never going to say if he got the wall that he stopped illegal immigration.
No.
It's not gonna. That's just not gonna happen. No. So let's think of something better that you can really say when 10, 20 years from now, oh, Donald Trump put this in place for the country and it actually meant something.
Right.
I wanted to tap into something that you said.
He bought McDonald's for Clemson.
We're going there.
I'm just saying that. Hey.
I wanted to, when you're saying as far as we don't seek the education for credit worthiness or better how to use credit and just credit education, financial education. Killer Mike got the show called Trigger Warnings on Netflix, and I just started watching it last night. And the second episode, he was basically going around talking to people, homeless people. First, he started in an elementary school, like, we need to get into trade more than we need to teach algebra and Shakespearean English and reading and such. So he went and talked to a couple kids, asking them, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Some kids like, "I want to be the president." He's like, "Okay, guys, this is never gonna happen. You need a trade." And he goes talks to the principal, and he's like, "How can we eliminate the curriculum and teach kids a trade?" She's like, "Nah, I don't think it's gonna work for students." So he went and found people without jobs, homeless people, and he did a little focus group. And he's like, "How do I get y'all to learn?" He gave them a little trade quiz. It came back, nobody knew none of the answers on how to repair a socket or change a door handle or whatever. And ultimately, in the end, they're basically saying learning ain't sexy. Like to have to learn it. So this nigga goes and talks to his wife about it, and they make a porno with trade education being taught. That's like the storyline. You walk in, the girl's like, "I'm gonna teach y'all how to change a light socket," and she's a lesbian. And so she started working on a light socket, and a girl comes in, and they get naked, and it's like, sex sells. Sex is education. I mean, it's entertainment.
Right.
And so when he brought the video they made back to the same focus group, they watched the video and came back, and they all passed the test. So
he tapped into how you learn.
So you got to it's a way you got to deliver the information.
Yeah. Right.
You deliver the information in a way that, and it ain't got to be sex, but you find some way that can, like, make it cool what we're listening to. And it's almost shameful that you have to present it in a cool way, because this is something that we all should want to know.
Right.
But at the same time, like, shit, we got to do whatever we can to get the information out to the right audience. Absolutely. And for the audience to be able to receive it.
Yeah, I mean, I think touching on your point as far as learning ain't sexy, it's one of those things where I think we get to a point of, we're force-fed education. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but we're force-fed it in a way of this is what they want you to learn.
Right.
Like right now with our kids, the whole Common Core math, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm supposed to. I'm not in that age bracket.
We weren't taught that way.
But we weren't taught that way, right? And not to say that either way is bad or better. We just know what we were used to.
Right.
And I think once we got done and out of that situation, to have from being force-fed what to learn to then having the choice to go to college or not, and going to college, and then now it's like it's your choice. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. You figure it out, and that's why I think where so many people are lost. They get lost in that trap of, I don't know what I want to do. Let me try over
Facts.
here. Nope, I'm gonna change my major. Nope, I'm gonna change my major. Nope, you know what? I'm just not even gonna do school. And when we get to that point of adulthood, we feel like, well, I'm an adult now. I'm done.
I'm just go to work.
You know what I mean? And we lose the sight of, you know, like the saying goes, once you stop learning, you stop growing. You know what I mean? You basically just die at that point. If you just really, you know what I mean? Like, you don't necessarily literally die, but the more you feed your brain education and information, the better you will become, the more you will evolve.
Right.
Going back to what we were talking about with learning how to become financially literate.
Right.
Most people feel like that's just too much for me to, you know, that's too heavy for me to understand and think about, so I'm not even going, let me just get my little paycheck and then let me keep doing what I'm doing.
It's also because, like you touched on, that's not only should we be learning a trade in elementary school and middle school and high school and really expounding on it, we should be learning how to use our credit. But because the powers that be profit so much off of our illiteracy when it comes to not only not being able to have a trade and also not being able to understand credit, that those type of things will never be a part of the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? We should be teaching those things in our home, but it's hard for us to teach when we're going through it and we're learning
day
by day.
We're learning day by day, and our kids are only going to emulate what they see.
Right.
That's real.
Not what we tell them.
That's
They're
Absolutely.
going to emulate what they see. So if they see us fly,
they're going to
quite
want
naturally,
the same.
that's what they want.
Yeah.
They'll go into debt in order to get it.
And not only us. I mean, with the YouTubes, the TV, all of that.
And that just enhances and multiplies, you know, that it perpetuates that negativity, that stereotype that we have to be, you know, basically. We're what we look like, not who we are on the inside. You know
Absolutely.
What I'm saying? So, I don't know where to begin. I don't know if we really need to just start over as a whole or as a community. As maybe For the Culture can really start to create and show these young kids that not only we're going to teach. I believe you should learn how to cut your hair when you're a little kid.
Right.
You know, one of my partners used to cut my hair as a little kid, and when we had Carl on the show. You know, he really talked about what his passion early on. He knew what he wanted to do, but there's, like you said, there were so many of us that don't know where we want to be by the time we graduate that we're kind of lost, and we just work a job, and then we're stuck in that. You know?
That's true.
And I can attest to that myself. So.
Absolutely. I've been there myself.
Oh, yeah. Back to 45 and the treatment of the Clemson football team. I've seen, in the last, since he's been in office, there's been a couple professional players and teams that just said, nah, we not coming. And he makes these big stinks about it on Twitter and talks a bunch of nonsense about the teams and the organizations and the players and attacks them personally. And then to try to blame it on the government shutdown.
Yeah.
And to, excuse me, B, we got 300 hamburgers and 400 pizzas, excuse me, that I paid for.
Right.
Like, bro, if we gonna talk about what you paying for,
aggressive. Yeah.
like, you could have gave them anything other than that. Like, that's just like the worst. Give me something.
I just don't know how much more blatant he can make it that he does not care. Him nor his staff. Because, let's face it, okay, so there's a shutdown. So you mean to tell me you're Donald Trump, you can't hire a team of chefs to come in and prepare meals for the national championship? I mean, that's what they're there for. I mean, it's a part of the experience. You're going to feed them. Why would you feed them that? Like... who thought that if you thought that was a good idea, 45, okay. But you have people in place that are there to tell you this is not a good idea.
Right.
We can do better than this. And so for it to fail, all of those people, all of these steps, this whole process.
Well, most of them
that
gone.
Shows that, that's true.
Like most of them either got fired or quit. So
I don't understand.
Yeah, who's okay with that? Like who
or I mean we don't know, right?
Like,
who picked it up?
You feel me? Like he was like McDonald's. Come on, Donald.
Yeah, really?
Nobody had the
man.
And he was probably if they did, he's probably like,
yeah,
fucking McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're kids.
For sure.
Kids like fast food.
These are football players. They eat 5 burgers a day.
Right.
That's what they do. That type, man.
Look, you know what? I'm gonna give you what you eat every day, but you eating it in the White House, bruh.
With candle lit.
Right. Yeah.
They say
Dude,
that,
we brought out the good china for this too.
Yeah, they say they got the boxes on plates.
On plate, yeah. They had them on the serving plates stacked up, man. I was like,
dude.
I'm gonna see if I can find that video.
That
man.
dude is crazy.
He was proud of it too. He was proud of it.
Look what I did. Like, come on, bro. That's just sickening.
Yeah, we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better.
On football though.
Rams, 26-23.
Yeah.
Rams headed to the Super Bowl.
Oh, Rams won?
Rams won.
Oh, that's fresh. You know, to hell with the league, but hey, I just told you I'm with TG 400.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Okay.
Kyler Murray chose the NFL over Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I think it's still up and open. I think that his agent is saying, hey, let's at least take a look because, I mean, let's face it, if you got an opportunity to play baseball and football, if he's, I mean, he was drafted in the first round in baseball, so he's a first round talent.
Right.
You know, he's not a big guy, and we don't know how well he can hit. But if he can make it to the majors, he can make a decent amount of money. But I mean, to be drafted in the first round as a quarterback, you know, you're talking about $100 million. I just read as we were getting started here that Patrick Mahomes could be the first $200 million quarterback. So if that's the numbers that are on the table,
right?
But not in your rookie contract.
No, not in your rookie contract.
No. And
you got to produce.
100%.
But the way the NFL is today, I mean,
but you know that money ain't
guaranteed.
guaranteed.
That's
Right.
true. Not like baseball
That
money.
money's not guaranteed. That baseball money, we getting that every check of it. You can get rid of me today, send me someone tomorrow. I want that money and I want your money too.
Right,
what we
right.
got going?
I mean, you don't think what we got right now? He couldn't play both sides,
That was my next question: is why can't he?
right?
As a quarterback?
Oh,
what difference does it make?
in baseball?
Because where does he play? He plays outfield, right?
Yeah, he's an outfielder.
So, like,
You could get injured.
I want my quarterback
Well,
throwing that
anywhere,
rock
any
in
position,
from the outfield.
any position you can get injured. I mean,
true.
he can lay it in. He a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, in the sense of playing both as a quarterback to be saying, because I'm throwing the ball. That's what I do.
Yeah,
And in
exactly.
outfield, I'm throwing the ball. And I just don't. I think it'd be a little difficult. I would love to see him do it. I saw Deion Sanders said that if it was him, that he would play baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he had to go back and choose.
Yeah.
And I mean, gotta go with what you love. Though the boy played at Allen, Texas, in front of 10,000 in high school. Then went to where he started Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, yeah.
And big football school, and then go to Oklahoma and win the Heisman. Like, I'm with it. I respect it, and I like the fact because you know my son is vertically challenged. He ain't the tallest in the world, and he played football his whole life. And so I root for the shorter guys because it's harder for shorter guys to get Division I looks. You got to be just super fast,
Right?
And if for you to get D1 looks and NFL looks under 5'10",
Yeah.
no matter how hard you are.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely rooting for him to do his thing. That opened up for Jalen Hurts to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah. What you think about that?
It hurt me. You know, it hurt me.
But you got Tua. You can't have it all, man.
See, I'd rather Hurts than Tua, though.
Really?
I'd rather Hurts than Tua.
Because he can stay healthy. He's on the field.
It changed the dynamic of how we play.
Okay.
It made us a passing team because he was such a good passer. And because we were a passing team and that was a mentality, I think that's why they got their ass whooped in the championship because the run was working. They were getting 4 or 5 yards to carry, and then they lose a couple yards, and all of a sudden we pass happy.
Start passing.
And that mentality is that ain't Bama football.
So do you think then that's on coach? That's on coach to not make because now he was comfortable with making the switch last year.
100%.
Right.
No.
So why wasn't he comfortable enough to make the switch to go back? Because the run was working.
The run was working.
run was working because they they didn't have their main defender in.
And we got 3 running backs deep.
Man,
we started
that's
with
what I'm
Damian
saying.
Harris, then we coming in with Josh Jacobs, then we coming in with
fresh
Najee
legs.
Harris.
Keeping them all fresh.
Bang,
And you got
bang,
a
bang.
quarterback that
can
run.
And just for shits and giggles, let's throw Hurts in there.
That's
and
what I'm
you
saying.
Go run some
Right,
more.
yeah.
Like they abandoned the run, and I'm sitting there watching the game, and Bama's my team.
And you take the ball out of the other kid's hands, the other quarterback for Clemson's hands when you're controlling the clock
when
and
you
running
control.
the ball.
And no, bro, we controlled the clock.
You did control the clock.
We had all the time of possession,
Yeah.
and couldn't put it in the end zone.
That's true.
Pick sixes and fumbles and picks and
Yeah.
I just think they would have stuck with the run with Jalen.
And how interesting would that have been had they won with Hurts? Now you're going into year 3.
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? But yeah, that just sucks to me. But
And Hurts won some games for you guys this year. He actually came in and
that
saved
Georgia game,
Oh
he
man,
saved us.
He saved the day.
Come on. Come on. And some of my partners was like, to hell with Nick Saban, that old fake crying he did for her at the end of the game. Boy, you should have kept it. And I'm like, man, I feel y'all,
Yeah.
but just the system that Nick Saban puts together down there in Bama is bar none. Like, and as a coach, like, I'd love to. I mean, I've been in that position where I had to pull the kid I love and put in the kid that was better. So I've been there, and it sucks.
I got a question for you then.
Yeah.
Is Nick Saban a better coach than Urban Meyer?
Yes. Wow, without question. Ding, 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 ding. Like,
I should ask you that. I knew he was
because
gonna
I'm
be biased.
biased anyway.
It sounds good. I'm not college.
But yeah, no,
that's why I get quiet when y'all start talking about college.
Nick
It's all good.
Saban, I mean, 6
I mean,
championships.
he's at Alabama, so I think his ability to recruit at
do
Alabama is
that.
going to be a little bit a step above, even above Ohio State.
If he was at Ohio State, he'd do the same thing.
You think so?
It's him.
That's interesting. I don't know.
I think it's him.
So I think you're saying if you switch Nick Saban and Urban Meyer,
Nick still
Ohio
won't.
State is the
Is the school.
6-time
Yeah.
national championship
Yeah.
team. Okay,
5.
5 times.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Dabo Sweeney. We got to get that man his accolades. Get that boy his clap, his props, his everything that you can give a coach. He deserves it. Like I'm real big into pregame and postgame speeches with my boys. Like they'll tell you can call any of them dudes. Right, I got some 22. One of my boys just turned 23. You can tell him like, how was Coach Truman before the game? Oh, and like, man, can't nobody get you hyped like Coach Truman. And it's never like real rowdy, yelling talk. It's just, I'm real with him.
Right.
And he's so real. Like, after the end of the game, I normally don't even watch when my team lose and they get to interviewing and talking the nonsense. But when I just heard Dabo talk, I'm like, yeah, for sure, he deserved it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why he won. Like, listen to the shit that he's saying.
Yeah.
He's a God-fearing man. He loves his players. It's more about the program than it is about him. And I'm just like, I tweeted or something, hats off to Dabo. And, like, I mean, I got it from every angle on Facebook probably. Like, I'm getting tagged left and right. But like, that's the...
You roll tide all day.
And that's the first loss like that I've been able to just, like,
because they got
whatever.
their ass.
Yeah,
Right. They got their head
ass.
bust wide open. Like, oh boy. Like,
Boy.
Like Badu last night. They got to the white meat.
To the white meat.
Shout out Badu, man. That's my boy.
Yes, sir. He should have.
Man, AB
We'll
don't
talk.
wanna
We'll get.
fight.
We'll get into that.
Right.
We'll get into that
AB
too.
don't wanna
I have
fight.
one more question on that topic, and then we can move on. Does Dabo succeed Nick Saban in Alabama when Nick's ready to hang him up?
That's probably the way. You know how people like
Well, they're gonna throw everything but the
what's
kitchen
boy
sink
name?
at him.
What's my other dude? Coach at Texas A&M.
Oh,
I always go blank at this motherfucker.
you talking about?
He used to be at Florida State.
Oh, you talking about?
I suck at this.
He was Jameis Winston's coach.
Yes, and that's my dog. I can't really. I'm just going blank right now. Texas A&M coach, but I think just like Texas A&M got to get him to leave Florida State because he's a Texas dude.
Right.
I think that's the same thing that's gonna happen to Dabo and with Alabama because he played at Alabama.
But now I could see.
And Jimbo Fisher. Jesus, Marion Joseph.
Yeah.
Jimbo.
But to me, that's kind of a step down. I know. A&M is in the SEC, but Florida State is a big time program. I mean, not to say that A&M isn't. It's more like maybe a lateral move or maybe a bit of a step down. Clemson,
as far as
Clemson's still a step up.
Popularity today, yeah, it's a step down. As program wise, because Florida State's a much more
But they got championships.
notarized program. He won the ship at Florida State.
You're right. They got chips.
But it's like I get to go play against a giant every season.
True.
Every year I'm playing against Nick and the Tide. If I can take over that division, it's more than what I did at Florida State.
I just don't know if you can do it at A&M. I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible.
Just me going through the high school football shit, being when my son was playing at Gorman, and like you more in tune to it, even with kids who ain't at the school. Like it's a national thing, right? And they kids want to go play for coaches.
True.
More than the program. Like some kids is loyal to program, but most kids is loyal to coaches today. Like we gonna go where if he get fired this season or he quit and take another job next year, we decommitting and we're going to where he transferred to. So I think Jimbo's gonna just be able to get the players.
Okay.
But I don't know how much more time Nick gonna do. I think Nick win another one. He might just call it quits because
there's not much left for him to prove. Even if he called it quits.
Right now,
he doesn't have much.
He ain't calling quits on that ass. But
I think that's for sure, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. What you got up for today, brother?
Man, let's see here. I had some things. So I was talking to one of my partners today, and or not today, but I was trying to come up with my topics for the show, and he said the most strange thing. Because we were talking about the Kardashians and how they have such a hold on whoever it is that they mess with, Kanye, Lamar Odom. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on and on. And he posed a question. He said, well, if you had to date one or what have you, which one would you date? And I threw out the name Courtney because she seems to be the one that's the least amount of drama. Either her or the model one, Kendall.
Yeah.
They seem to be the least amount of drama.
Yeah.
But then he kind of hit me with a curveball, and he said, "If you were gay, who would you?" He said, "If you had to be gay, who would you go gay with?" And I'm like, I'm a heterosexual man, so I can't even answer that question. So, and I could tell by y'all facial expressions, y'all feel the same way.
Wow.
So we got into the topic of homophobia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And why is it that in our culture, in the hip hop culture, why are we so homophobic? Like you pose a question to most women, they can answer that question, no problem, and not think twice about it. When you ask a heterosexual man, who it's almost like, dude, I don't even think that way. Like that is the furthest thing from my mind.
Yeah,
but
that's a very true statement.
But if you came out like even there's.
I don't know. I ain't gonna say it's more of a hip hop thing.
More
than it is a black man thing. That from what
I think it's just a man thing in general.
I think it's a black man thing because a person that I work with, she posed that question to her husband, who's a Caucasian man. He answered right away. Like it wasn't, and he's a married man. I was like, wow. Like,
and I would start off by like, it's ingrained in me. Like as far as being raised in the Baptist Christian church and a Christian household, it's always been taught to me that it's just not the way of God. And there's a lot of things like, okay, so I'll have this conversation with somebody, it's not the way of God, it's a sin, it's an abomination. And they say, well, there's a lot of things that are sins. And I agree. Like, there are no sins that are greater than the other. Right. You sin, you're wrong. Your sin is a sin. You eat too much, but you cuss every other word, or you jealous of this guy, y'all, it's equal. You killed him, but you stole from him. Y'all both was wrong. Right? And my comeback to that would be, okay, yeah, I feel all that. but God ain't destroyed no country because people were stealing.
Right.
Or God didn't destroy a country because people were lying or eating too much. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed because the town had turned homosexual, and the guy in the town, Lot, I think was his name, was trying to give his daughters to the townsmen because he knew he had angels, and the townsmen wanted the angels, and they would not take virgin girls because they wanted the guys. So God tell them, get your family, y'all take off, they gonna get to town, and don't look back. And they going,
burn this place
going,
down.
and wifey couldn't help it. She looked back, turned to a pillar of salt. Yeah. Right? All these metaphors and these stories and parables, no one knows exactly how it went, but I believe the word of God. And so that's my stance with homosexuality.
Right.
And then there's a catch, because I'll sit here and I'll be honest and say, I see two baddies right here kissing. I'm watching.
That's such a double standard,
Right.
and that was again. That's how far we went in.
Absolutely.
So,
why is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Well, and
it's
so
all,
and the flip side, no.
wrong is wrong. So I chose that to be my wrong. That other side,
Can't roll with that.
no sir.
But okay, so I understand what you're saying, true, because I too grew up in a Baptist community, and that whole ideology and things like that too. But and when we think about it, for those, I mean, we just gonna dive into it. I'm just gonna go there. Those preachers, both from a Baptist side, a Catholic side, all these others who preach, don't, being homosexual is a sin and this, that, and the other. Yet they going,
Taking a dip in that water.
right. They putting their toes,
That's some things I heard.
phalanges,
listen.
everything.
Come
Sitting there trying to see how
ministers
warm
of
it is.
music, the choir directors, the
Right.
organ players. Like in the black church, it's prevalent that you might see a gay man as part of the structure of what's going
A
on.
ministry, yeah,
Right.
No matter
100%.
what, yeah.
And it's been like I've seen in my entire life in the black church. So it's always been like, so how he playing?
Right.
And you singing and dance. So it made me like sit back as a teenager when I'm fully aware of what's going on. I'm sitting back like, oh, y'all tripping in this mud. Like,
Wonder why Auntie James is up there.
Come on.
Auntie
James.
James.
directing the choir. But I mean, and that begets the question too, or the conversation, I guess, that you could go, the route that you could go is that if the homosexuality was even that far back from a biblical sense, like, was that always the thought process in creation? You know what I mean? Or was, you know what I mean? Like, how did that migrate all the way to today's culture? Now we got
that is still, yeah.
I mean, of course, with what we've gone through as an industry, I mean, as a world, as people, it's now more socially acceptable, and people are going real left field.
Yeah, I mean, people are openly expressive.
Right, but on the same token, you have those who are so anti to a point of homophoby.
Right.
And I don't even know if that's a word, but
I like that. We're going to use that.
yeah, we're gonna use it. That's
Homophobia.
a real estate wrong word. Anyway, and also to the point, like those same, a lot of them. I'm not gonna say all of them. A lot of those same people that are so against it are on the back end doing something, doing what they're preaching against, or what they're attacking other people for doing because they're behind closed doors.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like where it's just great. Like that boggles my mind. Like
Where's the integrity?
Yeah, right. Like when we talk about double standards, it's like you can't sit here and bash somebody,
and then
on the back end you over here fondling somebody else.
100%.
But here's somebody's son.
Now, and I think that's where we kind of get caught up in it, because first and foremost, and this is just strictly my opinion. I'm a heterosexual man. There's nothing that I see that attracts me about another man.
Right.
But I don't judge my brother that doesn't see the world the same as I do.
Right.
And I feel like in the church, I mean, if it states that in the Bible, we can read it and leave it as it is, but we shouldn't be preaching that that's wrong.
Right.
Because we're now we're becoming judgmental. Yes, we're speaking the word of God and we're interpreting it that way. But at the same time, our Heavenly Father is a loving Heavenly Father, and He loves all of us.
Absolutely.
And like you were saying earlier, no sin is different from any other sin. So when we have that one-on-one with our Heavenly Father when it's our time, we have to make an account.
Right.
And it'll be His choice whether we go back to return to live with Him or not, based on the choices that we made. So I think that as a world and as a community, as a society, we got to get out of being so judgmental of people and their truths and how they're
Absolutely.
living. You know what I mean? But I do agree with you in terms of the hypocrisy. You can't say this is wrong and then you turn around and do it, and that makes no sense at all.
Absolutely.
Because the conversation started as being about hip hop, because I think it's a little more acceptable today in hip hop than it's ever been. Like especially with the
do you think that's just coming from
fashion
society?
The fashion industry and how closely it's knitted with hip hop today.
Mm-hmm.
Just like upper level executives of hip hop,
Of entertainment
or
period.
entertainment period. Yeah, 100%. And just like when you see guys like Frank Ocean and the success that he's been able to achieve. I think that it's more acceptable today than it's ever been, and that's 100% attributed to it being acceptable in society. I don't like what you do is what you do, right? With me, I'm saying what I feel is right and wrong about it. I don't agree with the lifestyle, but I don't say, hey, I ain't fucking with you because you gay,
Right?
Like,
but you don't see. I mean, again, you don't see like you see Lil Ma, like she hard. She can
Young
go.
M.A.
Young M.A. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
my bad. But you don't see like openly gay men rappers. Maybe we need one that can just spit fire. I don't know.
It's just probably not gonna happen because that's such a
Oh, it's gonna
competitive.
happen.
You're right.
It's gonna happen.
Right.
I think
I think there's
it's
somebody
coming
out there right now.
I think it's coming.
But I don't think it'll be.
I disagree.
I don't think it'll be
because I think
accepted.
the community, their community, will get behind it.
Yeah, but there's one thing to say that because then we're going into target groups, right?
Okay.
To say that like my community's behind it, like my target demographic,
Okay.
LBGQT community.
Right.
Yep. Right.
We're in the
LGBTQ, LGBTQT,
okay.
yeah.
So they'll get behind it, and they could sell millions of records because they're a large community.
Right.
Does that make it a hip hop smash?
Why wouldn't it?
Because is hip hop as a culture going to is that going to win? Is it?
I think if you nice, you nice. Though.
Well, I mean, you think about it like this: Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
Although he ain't spitting bars.
Right.
That's what
But
that's
you know what I mean?
what I'm talking. Like sing R&B, singing.
So
R&B,
you're saying R&B, we could be there?
I believe it's already there.
Right.
Yeah, come on. And like we could call a spade. Tevin
know.
Campbell been popping.
Right.
Like, come on.
Real talk.
Johnny Gill been on. Right?
Luther Vandross.
Come on,
Luther.
man.
Yeah.
Big or
Big
little.
and little.
Right.
Been on, right? So it's been there. I just don't think that like street hip hop culture is ready for it. I ain't gonna say that it never happened. I'll take back never because never's a long time.
Never's a long
But
time.
eventually, like, because even with you got dudes like Lil Uzi and Young Thug and how they approach the way that they dress and their
Right.
presentation of it. Like it's like a lot of people look at that as feminine.
But so I mean,
Carrying
Prince was
purses.
feminine, and Prince was the biggest player. I mean, in
Man.
the world's ever seen.
Right,
Man.
that's.
But he was. He
Hey,
wore high heels. Dog.
androgynous.
Bruh.
That was a time. Period. But I'm saying, but then that'll be their defense today.
Well, yeah, we
miss
just
what I'm
make
saying.
it comes
I'm
full
agreeing.
circle.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's like when you hear people who say that about Thug or Lil Uzi,
Right.
and Prince is their defense to say, well,
Absolutely. Not just Prince.
Prince had them all.
Right.
Prince. I mean, you could look at in the '70s. These dudes wore tights and long. Look at James.
Hey,
Bro, look at
man, you put on the old Earth, Wind, and
Earth, Wind,
Fire
Fire.
video right now.
Rick
You're going to see these
James
niggas in
wore
onesies
braids.
with
Right.
V-necks
with the
coming
D-
down
with
to
the
the
D.
belly button.
Exactly.
You feel me?
Spandex.
Right.
Where's your spandex?
Real spill.
So
the fashion part of it, like, or the like, that's up and down here and there. But I like, cause you got to dig the content. Like most people rap about their experiences.
Right.
So is hip hop ready to hear?
I think it's coming.
Those experiences.
Well, I think where we're transitioning through in hip hop, it's becoming it can open the door for it, right? Like there are more rappers that are coming out that wasn't drug dealers, that wasn't thugs, that wasn't breaking in and robbing folks. That
but they all lie and say they did.
A lot of them do, right?
Even
like
these 16-year, I'm listening to A Boogie with a hoodie right now. Just and
I still don't understand the name, but
he whipping and flipping and
all of that.
I mean, you got cats like G-Eazy, you got cats like, not to say that he's going that route, but he's producing hip hop records
without the drug dealing,
without all of that stuff. I mean, yes, he in his rhymes he is talking about his his life, and one of his I think it was These Things Happen album, one of his first albums, he had talked about his experience with his mother's wife or his mother's girlfriend. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finding her dead and all that stuff. Yeah. So I think that with the
Jay-Z coming out
on
his mom. Yeah.
I think with the era of hip hop now, and I'm saying all of that to say, because Jay-Z still talks about his trapping days and all that stuff. I'm saying there's more and more hip hop artists that are coming out. Not more and more. There are hip hop artists that are coming out that aren't talking about drugs, aren't talking about from the streets. Exactly. So I think that there's going to be a niche to be carved. There's going to be an avenue to come out to where there could potentially be.
And not only that, hip hop, and that's why I know I can speak for myself, and I'm pretty certain I can speak for the two of you as well as Scotty. The reason we love hip hop is because you don't have to be able to sing to do it.
Right.
If you dope and you got something to say,
yes,
your platform is there.
Yes,
it's just your delivery.
Never before in the history of hip hop has the platform been so big,
right,
as it is today.
And so
because
easily accessible.
It's so easily accessible. So I feel like it's almost inevitable that not only will an artist come forth that is a man that'll come forth that is gay,
right,
he will have a huge following, and he might really be nice. And
right.
I could just see it happening. I mean, and that when we get to that point, I mean, we'll have that discussion on the show.
Absolutely.
Word up.
Yeah.
Last thing I really wanted to talk about, and I know this is probably going to be for another show when we have really a lot of time, since you guys are both in the real estate. I feel like we need to get into gentrification in the hood and what we can do as young entrepreneurs to go back into our hoods all across this country and really start, like Jay-Z said, start to buy back the block and make it better. Because ain't nobody going to make it better unless we do it.
Right.
I love it. I was driving through Valley View yesterday. I come down MLK, past Lake Mead, take the right on Balzar, so I drive through the Heights, come around the Circle Park, straight across. And I'm looking at the dilapidated houses in the Heights, and I'm like,
empty lots.
Empty lots. And then I see some that was like built like back in the 90s, maybe a couple in the early 2000s, just because they bought the empty lots. And I'm like, they could probably get them for like $60,000 right now, 100 maybe, and build a whole new house.
Yeah.
Right? And be able to sell it for $225. And like, or rent it out and hold it.
Absolutely.
That's something based on the conversation we had earlier with the financial education that needs to be taught in a way, and it's starting to happen right now. Like, it's really starting to get more popular. You got you got Jay Morrison. Y'all follow Jay Morrison?
I don't.
So he started the Tulsa Real Estate Investment Fund.
Is that local?
No, he's he. I think he lives in Atlanta, but the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Back in the 30s, Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the only time that the U.S. government bombed their own soil was in Tulsa. They said they were using like fertilizer planes to drop bombs in Black Wall Street to hurt the infrastructure. So he started a crowd fund, and he didn't raise like 10, maybe $15 million with people just investing into the fund so they can go buy real estate. They bought a building. It used to be like a credit card company building. I think it's like 30,000 square feet, and that's going to be the headquarters. That's their first investment. And that's all he talks about, this real estate. He teaches it online. He got a little real estate academy, and this other guy, Mark, flip houses. He cool with DJ Envy. They go back. They based in like New York, Maryland area.
Yeah. I think I know what I'm talking about now.
They buying up a bunch of shit in Maryland, Baltimore, and flipping it. Detroit got dirt cheap. You can go buy a house in Detroit for $5,000 right now.
Absolutely,
easy.
Indianapolis,
and get some rental income. You go put like 10, 15,000 into it, and get you some rental income.
Put a family in it.
It again, like with the way that Jay Morrison do it, he a little arrogant, and but I like it. He don't use nigga. He use king or queen.
Nice.
But he hip hop. He used to be a dope dealer, and he's of and for the culture.
Okay.
And so the message is received a lot better,
right?
Because he's one of us. Because he's of the people.
And I just I feel like if we can get that information out and be able to come up with like a investment firm, sort of not even so much an investment firm, but a team of individuals who can deliver the message and go around the country and be like, yo, y'all got 175 houses out here that can be bought in y'all neighborhood and kept and held on to so that we don't let the corporations come in and gentrify it.
Right.
It got to get louder.
I'm friends with a guy, Larry Smith. He grew up in the square. G5 cultivation. Mm-hmm. Been knowing Larry since I was a kid, and he's been doing that in the square. Mm-hmm. You know, buying back up the neighborhood and trying to reinvest in his own. And you know, he's always been an influence on me. And so I just wanted to make sure I posed that question to two guys who are in the industry,
right,
and are successful in the industry. You know, and that's something that we probably should have an entire show on how we can go about this process, something that Mac is talking about, and start here so that when we take this around the country, we have proven results of how we did it in Vegas. Because I think everybody thinks Vegas is what's behind us.
Exactly.
But then when you go in the hood, it ain't no different than anywhere else.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it goes back to, you know, what we were talking about earlier, just from an educational standpoint. You know what I mean? The fact that, one, we got to get out of the mindset of how our parents were raised. Mm-hmm. I bought a house, I'm in that mug for 30 years, nothing else.
Right.
Like, that's it. I ain't leaving. You can't get me out of here until I die. You know what I mean? And not that that's a bad thing, because again, they bought benefits, something, right, and they're working their way towards actual ownership and not having debt on that property. But now we're in an era where utilizing debt the right way, mm-hmm, in a positive way, can not only benefit you and from a financial standpoint, but also benefit, like you're saying, a community to where, like, I grew up off of Jefferson and J Street. Like, I drive down there whenever I get a chance, and I still see the same houses. Mm-hmm. Ain't none of them been updated. Nope. Ain't none of them been nothing.
Right.
Like, that's just like one of the things that my mom, luckily, you know, taught me when in the house that we grew up in was like, she would get the roof done when it needed to be done. She got the house painted, although it was an ugly color. I love you, Mom, but that yellow was just ridiculous.
It was not it.
But she got the house painted. She hooked up the yard, and now
she increased the value.
Right, and now that the people are there, the new homeowners, I still drive by and take, you know, just to check on the house. Like, they got a new wall up around the front, and you know they put grass back in the front yard.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I say all that to say that the people that, like, we don't understand the benefit of having a property.
We don't see the larger picture.
We don't see the larger picture in that of this is an asset to not only create a legacy for ourselves and also our family, but when we start to multiply that, mm-hmm, and create passive income through rentals, or a surplus of income through flipping a property, either through wholesaling or fixing and flipping or whatever that looks like. That ability to understand that realm is insane. And, you know, the unfortunate part is we got so many people out there that are baiting and switching these people of, you know, be able to find homes for no money or this, that, and not to say that that's not true. That's a very true statement, because yes, you can get to a point, depending on the type of investment model that you bring or that you go after, where you can create wealth within real estate without using your own money.
Right.
Absolutely, that can happen. The unfortunate part is they want to capitalize off of those people's uneducation of it. And again, it goes right back to the same thing of the education is out there. We just have to be the ones to go out and seek it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's such a broad and a wide spectrum that you gotta get some kind of, you know, direction on where to go, but start somewhere. You know what I mean? Just understand what the difference between an asset and a liability is, first and foremost.
Right.
And look at your place right now. Like, I think that's where the gentrification comes from, is we get trapped up in that cycle. Like, it all rolls into what we kind of talked about today, from a financial standpoint of living paycheck to paycheck, right. Not having 3 to 6 months reserves in our account,
right.
Not having our own through home ownership, whether you have the home loan or not. Versus renting and giving another landlord or a leasing company your money every month. Like, one of the biggest terms that I'm seeing now that's starting to float around is your rent is nothing but 100% interest. You think about it like
it's
that.
It's an interest-only loan.
It's an interest-only loan. Like, real talk. Like, wow. Your money goes nowhere when you rent.
That's real.
And
that's funny.
And people, we want to,
unfortunately,
you know, we want to. So did I. We want so much to look a certain way that we're not humble enough to start somewhere. Right. Start lower than where we really are. You said.
Like that. When you're saying that, gentrification happens also because, like, when we grow up, we want to move out the hood.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then the hood becomes empty.
Right.
Because, like, now the hood, like, you go back, I go to my grandma's neighborhood, I could probably tell you everybody live on the street name. I was driving, we was just there yesterday, and I'm riding through. My wife's Mexican American, and it's like 4 or 5 Mexican families. I'm pointing to a house. I'm like, oh, remember old girl I showed you on Facebook that used to be her house? I'm like, oh, shit.
Some Mexicans, yeah.
In Valley View. Like, we've never had anything other than African Americans and blacks living in Valley View. And it's no problem. I'm not saying, like, oh, wow, why is there Mexicans here? I'm saying that they're cool buying houses in the neighborhood, and we're not. We want to get away where they're like, we're coming in.
And you know what they'll do? They'll fix them.
Right.
And, bro,
absolutely.
We was laughing because my grandma was the first person on our street to put tile roofing on her house. She put a wrought iron fence with bricks.
She made it nice
in front of the house, like with a gate that I had to open and close every time we came to that.
I remember that. Mine was chain link from my grandma's house.
We got a brick house, so under the fascia, instead of being wood, she put stucco under the fascia. And then after she did it, her neighbor did it. After he did it, neighbor across the street.
Right, because it looked so nice.
Neighbor down the street did it, and all damn near the whole street did it.
Right.
And they raised the value of that. My grandma got that house for like 35. Well, I think she probably got it for $50,000.
Right.
In 2003, 2005, it was probably, we could have sold it for like $225. In 2011, 2012.
Bottom of the bottom.
30,000.
Back down.
Because the market
back
went back down. And now she back up to maybe 190.
That's not bad.
Right.
Especially for the area. I mean,
she's been in there since 1964, 63, something like that. And
they're starting to build again over there.
And
just
they're starting to build. They just across real estates. They just built the new houses. Yep. What kind of angers me is me and my partner PJ talk about it like all the time. We laugh about it. Back in the day, if we wanted Taco Bell, we had to go to Las Vegas Boulevard and and Pecos across from Broadacres.
Yep.
That was the only Taco Bell.
Right.
Now they got Taco Bell on Lake Mead and Martin Luther King. They got Taco Bell.
They got Jack and the
Express. They got Del Taco. They got Del Taco.
McDonald's.
They got palm trees down MLK.
Bro,
come on,
right?
How many of those are owned by us though?
None.
None of them.
Zero.
That's the problem.
That's the issue.
Right.
That's the gentrification with just happening within the business.
And it only makes sense because how many vehicles pass through Martin Luther King, that strip of land, every day? Like, to me, that is the,
and for the longest
most
time, that McDonald's was
expensive
just
piece
there.
of land. But because we don't understand the politics
I
and
just
the
ain't in a
things that are
position,
necessary,
bro. I understand. I wanted it.
Right.
There's a spot there right now. There's an open lot.
But hold on.
Right now today that I think I'm like.
If I'm not mistaken,
if I could offer the right
if I'm not
dollar
mistaken,
to them,
that's Ward 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it's part of North Las Vegas too. So
once you pass over MLK. But my thing is, and so it's whatever ward that is in North Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But tell me how long the
commissioners,
or councilmen have been African American.
Yeah.
And why do we not have ownership along those lines? I mean, those are things that we have to have. If we're going to rebuild our communities, we have to have black business.
Absolutely.
And it has to be effective and honest and great black business. It can't be
Hey,
shoddy, run of the mill.
And on that Killer Mike show, you can go. That's on that black business. They say that the dollar in a I want to say in an Asian neighborhood, in an Asian community, the dollar circulates
like 15,
like
13,
I want to say
15.
like 20 days or something. He said 21 days before it leaves the community.
Right.
And the Jewish community goes like 18 days. The Mexican community goes like 12 days, and the black community. And these can all be skewed, but I'm giving you
You're giving the
comparison
the bigger
for what
picture.
I'm about to tell you.
Right.
In the black community, the dollar stays for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
it's long enough to get it.
And what I was going to say is I think historically we have been, I don't want to call it, I'm going to call it what it is. We've been trained to not want our own.
Yeah.
Keep it like let's
Desegregation.
move it on up.
Desegregation.
And that's what Killer Mike, because he did it for 3 days. He was only going to live black. Yeah. I'm only buying black products.
Right.
Food had to come from a black farm. Soap had to come from a black manufacturer. He was going to do a show in Athens, Georgia, leaving Atlanta. He couldn't drive none of his cars because they weren't made by black companies.
Right.
He went and got a bike that was made by a black company and rode the bike. Then he got on a bus that was owned by a black tour bus company and rode the bus. But like, we fought so hard for integration because it was a matter of being equal. Yeah. Like, it wasn't so much then that we want to be able to go spend our money with y'all, but before desegregation, the money stayed in the community because it had to. You couldn't go eat over there.
Exactly.
You couldn't go work over there. You couldn't go spend your money anywhere else but in your community. So the dollar stayed. Once they desegregated, and now you were allowed to go and other places. It took the money from the community, and I even witnessed it. Like, I pay attention to it now. Like, when I was in elementary school in the 80s, so I was like, let's say 87, 85 is when I moved with my grandma. So second grade, 85. We live in Valley View. So we coming down Veronica Street. Everybody on my street from from H Street, from the east side of H Street to D Street, which is Inglestead in Valley View. We all went to one elementary school. When you pass Inglestead and you're still on what would be Veronica, but the name of the street's Elizabeth, and you drive down around close to the park, they went to a different school. 2 streets over, they went to a third school.
Yep.
So they split up. Everybody, our entire neighborhood, which is just one community, probably 1,000 homes, split us up into 3 different elementary schools, so they could have integration.
Absolutely.
Like, we rode the bus from Valley View to Samstown for elementary school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
know why I'm saying wow. I went to, because I live just north or south of where you lived in the square. And we went to Paradise.
Yeah.
Across from UNLV.
Yeah. Scotty.
I watched as they built the Thomas and Mack Center.
Right.
So
and
now-
I went to Johnson Junior High School. I was at Jefferson and J Street, went to Johnson Junior High School, went to Cimarron.
Up on Alta?
Right.
Wow.
Alta in Buffalo.
That's
I was
crazy.
supposed to go to Western
That's
and well, that would have been Matt Kelly.
Yeah,
where I live.
exactly. You feel me?
You know what I mean?
And then, because Matt Kelly, Joe Mackey, what's the other one over there by Doolittle? What's the school next to Doolittle?
Matt Kelly.
No, Matt Kelly's on D Street. No, Kit Carson. That is
Kit
Matt Kelly.
Carson,
Kit
yeah.
Carson is
Kit
on D
Carson,
Street.
yeah.
So Matt Kelly's next to Doolittle.
Yeah.
Those were all sixth grade centers when
Yep.
we was in school. But when they started the Prime 6 thing in the community, then they turned to elementary school. So why could, and even before we went to school there, they were elementary
Right,
schools.
yep.
So it's just wild the way that desegregation, segregation,
right.
how much it
affected
everything.
Really affected the
But and I think to touch on it a little bit more, like you were talking about when in that era when we wanted and fought so hard for equality, right? Is that we forced ourselves to be their equal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To be looked at as their equal. So that way, when it actually did happen, I think that's why we dispersed everything.
Because we had to enjoy the fruit, so we fought so hard.
Right. You know what I mean? And instead of
It wasn't
understanding,
it wasn't
right,
cognitive
instead
to
of
say.
understanding, like, hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. But I mean, on the flip side, is that when we did take the stance of, you know what, we're gonna create our own again, like you talked about with Black Wall Street, and just all of a sudden testing.
Yeah, they don't.
You know what I mean? Like
It's-
it's a way to keep us in that mentality of
It's for sure it's a plot, right?
Right.
The thing is that we have to recognize that it's a plot, and we can't. The days of being like overtly militant is gonna get shot down. It's the message ain't gonna be received. But if you
being passive as well, you got to find that medium.
yes.
I think
Yes.
it's harder now because of everything we've been again conditioned to understand and want and everything. Like we got black girls right now running around here with blonde weaves.
Forever.
Yeah, it's going to take some generations to get it back on the
Right.
on the right side, but it starts with us. And I appreciate you brothers really speaking on it, especially from your experience level and your knowledge in the real estate game. Bless you. I feel like this really should be like a full show.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
And obviously for the culture, but really for our people.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Man, who watched that fight last night?
I'm cool on AB right now. I'm not giving that pay-per-view none of my money. Like I have too much. I be rooting for the homie,
Yeah.
and he don't put up a show. So nah.
I mean,
What you think, Romy?
Adrian, he think he more than he is.
Okay.
First and foremost, that's just right off the top. He just thinks he's way higher than status than he is. I mean, granted, he's gotten himself to a point where he's fighting some good fighters, but yeah, no, I didn't watch the fight. I wasn't going to pay pay-per-view to see it. I mean, Manny Pacquiao. Personally, I think knowing in the retail industry that I used to work in, whenever he would come to town and fight, and seeing his wife spend all that money.
Oh, she was spinning like that, huh?
Man, she would come in and leave with bags. And I worked at Guess.
Wow, okay.
She would leave with bags at Guess. Like, come on now. And so I think it was a money play. He needed the money.
Yeah.
Adrian Broner needed the notoriety, and I think he got his spotlight to talk shit like he always does. But I think that he just not what he thinks he is. Like I heard somebody saying that he was running around at the end with his hands up like he won, and the crowd was booing.
Yeah. So since I watched the fight, I'll shed some light on it.
Come on.
So my nephew was like, "Pops, come through. We're gonna watch the fight." So I was like, "All right, cool." So I wanted to see it. I wanted to see what Pac had left. I'm an avid boxing fan, so when I watched the replay of Pac-Man fighting Matisse, he looked good. When he fought Daniel Horn, I felt like he won the fight and got robbed. And I felt like that was his last fight with Bob Arum, and I think Bob Arum was trying to use him as a name to build this guy up.
Possibly.
We see what happened to Horn when he fought Bud. So I felt like, watch the prelims, you know, Badu Jack gave it his best, but the other kid he fought last night was just younger, stronger, faster.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
But as soon as the main event began, and they had been interviewing Floyd, and Jim Gray interviewed Floyd a couple times, and just asked him different questions whether he was going to fight Pac or not, or fight Pac.
Yeah, right,
or not. And Floyd was evasive, but to me, because I know how much Floyd controls things, he really controls the narrative. They talk about LeBron controlling the narrative.
Man,
Floyd in his world controls the narrative. So especially with Showtime.
Yeah.
My first thought was, this is going to be a glorified sparring session. You got a guy with a name who is a knockoff Floyd, if you will.
Absolutely.
Which is why I think he's one of those knockoffs you find at the LA swap meet.
Which is why I think he's bigger than he is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is Adrian Broner has talent. He really could be a great fighter if he wanted to. If he could just get a trainer who could really get through to him and set the nonsense,
bring it out of him.
Set the nonsense aside. He really could, because the boy still got great hand speed. I saw it was on display last night.
He just don't let it go.
And there's times in the fight where I feel like he needs to take control and not be a counterpuncher. If you watched him last night, he was really trying to be a Floyd clone and counterpunching
132 punches.
Yeah.
It landed 50 or something like that.
It was just not, it was not a good showing at all. And then when he had the audacity to raise his hand at the end and then throw a fit when Jim Gray interviewed him about him really feeling like he won, I'm just like, dude, first of all, we know you have to sell it. Because everybody spent $75 on it. That spent $75 on it need to feel like, okay, at least this guy showing. Look, give me something for my money. Now he's gonna show out and start calling motherfuckers bitch ass niggas.
Right.
I mean, it was ridiculous. It was crazy.
I mean, all leading up to it too. Every interview.
That's a side show. I think a lot of people get caught up in that. But but because it's a business first, we understand what it was, and I think Floyd and Manny will do it again. They'll probably both make upwards of $250, $300 million. And they'll both call it a career. And that's fine with that. I'm fine with that. Because, they both deserve to have at least one last hoorah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's one last hoorah. I don't think I don't think they have much left to give the sport, because it's a lot of good young welterweights coming up. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of them out there. And I don't think either one of them can beat the top tier.
No.
Ain't neither one of them getting in the ring with Errol Spence or
Bud.
Neither one of them.
You know what I'm saying?
Not even close.
So
try it if you want.
So with that being said, it was what it was. I'm glad that I'm glad that I didn't pay, because I would have felt like I felt when Canelo fought Chavez Jr.
Right.
Like I got
robbed.
Because they
absolutely.
De La Hoya might as well just came in my house and put a gun to me and say, "Look, give me $100."
Right. Yeah.
So
so I'll say that where I'm upset that I didn't get to see the fight was for the undercard. Okay.
Great undercard.
Good friend of mine is strength and conditioning coach for Badu Jack.
Okay.
And I support everything he does. All his fighters. His other fighter, Caleb Plant, who won his first title.
Yeah, Caleb Plant.
Last week.
Tough.
And this week, Badu was up for another fight as well. Again, like you said, he was with the younger, stronger, faster fighter, and it showed. And I think a lot of the fighters that are coming up that are showing that sportsmanlike conduct, right? Adrian Broner, he lost. Let's just be real. He lost, but yet he wanted to put up a fight, put up a show, and all that stuff.
Ain't teaching the youngsters nothing.
Ain't teaching nobody nothing.
Right.
On the flip side,
I disagree with that. He's teaching them how not to act.
Right. How to be a fool. You're right. How to be a fool and
please don't act like that.
That ain't his angle.
He's not teaching.
Right. Yeah.
But
we should be teaching them. Please do not behave like that.
Right.
If you got my last name.
We have someone who, like Badu Jack, who got a pretty bad, nasty gash.
Ooh.
Oh, it was bad.
That thing was.
That's last night?
That's
That was
last night. Yeah, they clashed heads.
It
in
opened up, and
then the kid just kept peppering
and
it.
and he was bleeding. Like one of the news reports said, it was a crimson mask.
Yeah.
I was like, that's that bad. But he went through the rest of the rounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
12
he
rounds
fought
straight
the
through.
rest of the fight.
And here's what I love about the sportsman, the conduct in which he held himself to was that he didn't use that as the excuse of why he lost.
Right.
He said, you know what? I was in the ring. He was stronger than he
was better.
Yeah.
It was his night.
Hats off to you. You won fair. Like just very gentleman-like in respectful of the sport
Just
itself.
real grown man.
Real grown man stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about the sport because I think that I agree with you. I've missed boxing like this.
Yeah.
And I think that with a lot of the opponent or a lot of the boxers that are coming into the industry now I think it'll set the world on fire to where now boxing is that thing that they watch.
Man, unless they get Errol Spence Jr. and Bud in the ring together, the sport is gonna stop for
Well, they headed that direction. Bud got Khan. Errol Spence got Mikey Garcia.
Mikey, yep.
So hey, I mean
those
are two.
I'm going to that fight.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of. I mean, my guy Sean Porter. Shout out to Sean Porter, one of my clients.
Yeah.
Caleb Plant, who's an up and comer. You got Keith Thurman.
Yeah.
Who's a beast.
Got the Shiloh twins.
One time.
Shiloh twins.
One of them just got robbed.
Really?
Yeah.
Already
they in the fight wise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You got Javante Davis.
Javante.
Yeah,
Davis
right.
is the truth.
I mean,
Tank.
and that's why I'm like you, and that's just from those classes with the heavyweight. You got the light heavyweight. You got Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Who? That's a different conversation for the fight that happened with.
Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury.
They're gonna do it again, so that's
They
what I want to see.
absolutely gonna do it again.
Hopefully the winner will fight Joshua.
Yeah, I think they said that fight's supposed to happen this year.
Yeah.
Later this year. So, I think that where the era is going, I think it's good because we're getting better. We're getting better, more exciting fighters that are coming into the industry. It's not just the Floyd show.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from him because he did what he did in the industry and he's the reason why he's undefeated. But I think that now we have a plethora of people to follow and to pine after. And I think that when we in this industry, of course, it is all around like you got to be a little entertaining and things like that. You can't just be dry and boring,
right?
But don't get silly.
And not only that, look to own more of your brand.
Right.
That's the one thing that I feel like. Yeah, Floyd is 50-0, and he's one of the greatest fighters ever. And the argument can be made where he sits in his place. But the one thing that he's going to for certainly leave, the legacy he's going to for certainly leave, is owning his brand and being able to control the narrative of what his brand is and what it isn't, and who can profit off of it and who can't. And that right there, as young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, middle-aged entrepreneurs, we can all learn a little bit from that because I mean, he was even able to get a portion of the concessions. I mean, like who does that?
Right. I mean, just
he's the draw.
He's the draw. I'm the reason that you're here.
I'm the reason you're here, bro.
Whether you want to see me win or lose,
you
came to see it.
Yeah.
You
money,
pay.
Mayweather.
Yeah.
That's why he's
so you,
money.
You have to respect that. You have to respect that.
He's a businessman, and I think that's where a lot of the industry's going. I mean, you look at LeBron James, like he's making business decisions.
He's branding himself.
You know what I mean? Like
it's all about his
It's
more than the athlete.
It's no longer love the sport. You know what I mean? And I think that's where we're turning the page from is back then they'll give their entire body up for the sport.
Yeah. And the sport won't give them nothing back.
Won't give them nothing back.
Oh no, they spit you out.
Yeah, they spit you out, man. Like now these guys are retiring.
They're the asset. They're the commodity.
Yeah. Like they're retiring younger and
they can control the
absolutely
their levels. And that leads me to another topic, but I know we got to wrap it up short. I know Scottie Pippen said that Zion should shut it down
after the season or now.
Just
shut
done.
It down now, because you're going to be the number one pick. What else do you have to prove?
No, they saying that RJ Barrett might go number one. Ain't that his name? RJ.
We talking about box office. Don't get me wrong. RJ Barrett can go, and he might be better than Zion in terms of all around game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about box office.
Yeah, no, box office is Zion.
6'8",
Nah, he bought it.
280.
Listen, you know,
and he believes he can fly.
shout out to UNLV, but I ride with the Blue Devils on basketball. That's my guy.
Shout out to UNLV with that nonsense.
Yeah. Keeping it trail. Yeah.
All right, take us out.
Yeah, for sure, man. It was I think we covered some good shit today. Hopefully, y'all can take some of what we dropped down today and apply it, and let's do better as a community, getting towards a common goal.
Yeah, the bag.
Other than that, let's we'll wrap this thing up. We'll see y'all next time.